Guys, this is Chris with Omnidek. I want to thank you for visiting omnidek.com. I'm going to run you through a quick overview of how Omnidek can help you manage your expense reporting. At Omnidek, we have the most powerful and flexible application, and we generally handle all the different ways these expenses flow through a company. There's either those kind of one-off expenses that your employees will do if they don't regularly do an expense report of maybe it's around a trip or a single purchase that they do. You've got kind of the normal weekly or monthly expense report that gets reimbursed, where you kind of keep track of your expenses over a period, especially with your receipts and then your travel, and then submit them all in one report. And then you also have kind of those tough culprits on both ends of the spectrum, the upper tier executives that maybe don't do a great job of coding or don't want to code. And then you have also those guys, the lower end guys, technology wise at the bottom of the field level, that submit their expenses into maybe a project accountant for coding, for maybe that job costing, and so on and so forth. So Omnidek is flexible enough to be able to handle all of those different processes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we handle expense reporting at our company using Omnidek. So the first piece of this, I'm going to just show you my expense report. I'm going to come in here and just show you a previous month's expense report to give you an example. Everything in Omnidek is form-based. So this is kind of a report that lets me go see my previous month's expense reports. Here's all the receipts that were for March of 2020. Here's all my travel. If I wanted to see an expense, I can go see the receipt and check on it from there. But it's very easy. If I want to drill in and maybe ask a question to the accountant, hey, am I getting paid, or what was the issue here? I can have this dialogue with maybe my manager or ultimately the accountant for getting this process. So very easy. It's all form-based. So we could build a form however you wish to do the expense report. So this is kind of how I handle it, using kind of that monthly or weekly expense report. I also have my guys that don't do an expense report all the time. They do an expense reimbursement request. There's a little bit simpler. They'll select themselves. They'll put in an expense type that's integrated to our accounting system. Let's say they bought something for $25.25. They'll give me their description. This little helper text reminds them that they've got to list all people involved with the event. They can snap a picture. Again, this is being done on their phone or their tablet. They can attach a receipt if they're sitting at their computer and get something emailed to them. Let's say they went to New Orleans and it's 125 miles round trip, and they'll put in what the reason for the travel is. It adds up the total requested amount down here, does all the math for you. Use your default signature to sign it, and then submit it on. So very easy. You can do the same thing. You could even simplify that form down for some of those executive level guys or some of those simple field guys and let them submit it in. Now, a couple of different ways that we can handle this process is that if we're just submitting those kind of single receipts in, let's say I'm the CEO and I do 50 receipts for the month. Well, what we can actually do is we can bring all of those together and actually create an actual expense report. So an example of that, I'm going to go find one of my saved ones. So this would be kind of what that would look like. I've got all of my receipts already queued up. This would automatically route to the employee or maybe that project project accountant or executive assistant, and they're just going to effectively put the proper cost coding on our proper job. This handles job and overhead expenses, and you can completely configure this grid however you wish. So we use our receipts really just to kind of queue them up and then put them all together and then route them out to the person who was in charge of those expenses for proper coding and then ultimately signature here at the bottom. So no matter how you do expense reports, we can handle that. Now, the flow of this information is all based upon generally conditions on the form or hierarchy. Expense reports, generally speaking, flow up a hierarchy level. So these team members, if they were going to request to be reimbursed for an expense, their direct supervisor has to approve it. And then maybe if it's over a dollar amount, it goes to another level, or maybe the CFO or senior accountant. Well, the way that we set up workflow is that we leverage that hierarchy. So if I'm setting up a workflow for an expense report, I can say, okay, if you start it, it's got to go up to your supervisor first. Then if the condition on the form is maybe total request amount greater than a number, if it's under that, it just goes to accounting. If it's true, one more level of approval, then to accounting. So whether we're routing on job, on project number or on department code, hierarchy, no matter what, Omnidek is flexible enough to be able to handle that. So this is really Omnidek. It's a super flexible platform. We have a marketplace that already has tons of templates in here. I mean, you see, it's not just expense reports. It's everything from site audits, daily reports, timesheets, you name it, purchase requests. You can come in here and peruse the different types that we have in the system, download them, modify them, and then deploy. So super easy platform, super collaborative, and it creates this kind of ecosystem, what we call an intranet portal that we think most companies need but can't afford. Omnidek is low enough on the price point that this is a super cost justifiable solution. You're not tagged and priced per expense report, so you can have the freedom of submitting those things in at your discretion. And it's just an overall super simple, super easy application that you can use for almost everything in your company. So I thank you for taking a look at this kind of short expense report video and demonstration. I encourage you, if you are interested, sign up for a free trial, or if you want a one-on-one demonstration to talk more specifically about your coding or your expense reports, or just in general about Omnidek, you can do so by scheduling at the link on the website. So thank you so much again. This is Chris with Omnidek.